नमस्कार, आप देख रहे हैं टीडी न्यूज। मैं हूं आंचल गुलाटी गुम्बर। आगे बढ़ने से पहले एक नजर सुर्खियों की तरफ। प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी का सूरत और दमन का दौरा। कई हजार करोड़ रुपए की विभिन्न विकास परियोजनाओं की देंगे सौगात। रेपो रेट 5.25% पर बरकरार। आरबीआई की मौद्रिक नीति समिति का सर्वसम्मति से यह फैसला। आरबीआई ने नहीं किया नीतिगत दरों में कोई भी बदलाव। कर्नाटक कांग्रेस में बड़ी कलह। विभाग बंटवारे से नाराज रामलिंगा रेड्डी का मंत्री पद से इस्तीफा। डीके शिव कुमार को सीएम बनते ही लगा बड़ा झटका। डोनाल्ड ट्रंप और व्लादिमीर पुतिन ने की प्रधानमंत्री की प्रशंसा। ट्रंप ने पीएम मोदी को बताया अपना अच्छा मित्र। वहीं पुतिन बोले, भारत दुनिया की सबसे तेजी से बढ़ती अर्थव्यवस्थाओं में शामिल। और विश्व पर्यावरण दिवस आज। प्रधानमंत्री ने दी बधाई। कहा, भारत में हमें अपनी बायोडायवर्सिटी पर बहुत गर्व। एक पेड़ मां के नाम जैसी पहल ने जंगल के विस्तार में दिया अहम योगदान। और आरबीआई इस वक्त प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस कर रहा है। आइए आपको सीधी लिए चलते हैं।
The media participants to please stick to one question. I'm repeating, please stick to one question so that everyone gets a chance. In case time permits, we can take some more questions. I also request everyone to please switch on the mic while speaking so that those watching the live telecast are able to hear clearly. And once you have finished speaking, please switch off the mic. So with your permission, I will now call out the names.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. I will request Ms. Lata Venkatesh from CNBC TV 18 to please ask the first question. Lata, please.
Thank you, Bridge. Thank you, Governor and DGs. A bazooka of a policy, sir. The market is pouring its congratulations. I wanted to know if you can give us some more details on the ECB and FCNR scheme, especially FCNR. Last time it was excused from CRR and SLR. And banks were allowed to give loans and, get their customers to raise FCNR. So it was not just their money, even leveraged was allowed. Can you just elaborate? Because that will give an idea of how much they can expect. And
the details.
And anyway, what is an idea of the flows? Sorry. What kind of flows? Sorry, it's a sales call. What kind of flows are you all expecting with everything, ECB, FCNR, and the other steps that you'll have announced, NRI, etc.? Thank you, sir.
The details we will come out, shortly. We are still, working out the details, but broadly, the contours were already mentioned. In terms of CRR and SLR, that dispensation will certainly be given. Other than that, I don't think there is any change, in the regulatory dispensation. So that whatever is, whatever is the existing dispensation, regulation with regard to that, there is no special dispensation for that. In terms of the quantum, we are hopeful of reasonable and good. We are not targeting any particular amount, but we do expect healthy flows, both from ECB and other various measures have been announced today. So as a result of all these measures, we expect healthy flows, not only in this period of 3 to 4 months that we have given short window for ECBs and FCNRB deposits, but there have been other measures for equity as well as government bonds. So all put together, we are quite, and there were other measures, which were taken even earlier, whether it is in terms of the ECB, liberalized ECB scheme that we brought in, and the measures that I mentioned in my monetary policy statement with regard to government initiatives in terms of the trade agreements, etc. All those put together, we are quite confident of very healthy, a much better BOP this year as compared to what it would have been otherwise.
Thank you, sir. We'll take some more questions from our left side before we come to the right side. I now request Manojit Saha from Business Standard to ask his question. Manojit, please.
Thank you, sir. Now, can we assume that for the time being, since you have not mentioned that when the RBI expects inflation to come back to 4%, can we expect that RBI now put that 4% target in abeyance for the time being and more focused on the range like we did in COVID times? Because from the speech, I think it's evident that you're more concerned with growth rather than inflation. So is the 4% target is kept in abeyance for the time being?
No, the target is not in abeyance at all. It's a target which is sacrosanct for us. It's a target which the government has given to us. It was reviewed. It remains 4%. And that is what our endeavor is. But keep in mind that this target, it is to be met, over a period. It's a medium-term kind of a target. And it is not advisable to take action for each and every small or large, especially small, deviations from the target, because that can have consequences which can be disproportionate for growth. So our target remains the same. It is 4%. It is to be met over a period of time. And as mentioned, we will be data dependent. We have to watch and see as to whether this shock supply, because it's a supply shock, whether its effect is going to persist or whether it is going to wane away. So we are watching for that. And I think the details are already there, in my monetary policy statement. We'll be very watchful if inflation is getting generalized, building into expectations, and accordingly, take action.
The concern is the real rate is now very, very small or even negative. So,
see, as I mentioned to you, we have to look at it over a little longer period. It's not possible, nor is it desirable. It's neither possible nor is it advisable to have it pegged, in a very small range. And that's why we have this range. The range of 2 to 6% is primarily for this purpose, that while the endeavor, the focus, the target is 4%, but there can be fluctuations around that. And we don't, if they are really fluctuations, then, we don't, and it's the effect and the inflation is coming down on its own, then we don't apply, monetary policy tools, which will have other adverse consequences.
thank you.
I will, in interest of everyone's time, let's restrict ourselves to one question at a time. And then if there is time and the question has not been asked by anyone else, then we come back. Okay?
Thank you, sir. I now request Anup Roy from Bloomberg to ask his question. Anup, please.
Thank you, sir. Sir, in a recent interview, you have said that rupee is undervalued. So what is, as per your estimate, the fair value?
Which interview are you talking about?
In Mint interview, you have said rupee is perhaps undervalued. So
I have never said that rupee is undervalued. I think what you are referring to is the fact that I mentioned that, it may be, I think if I recall correctly, I said something to the effect that it is reasonable to think that it may not be, overvalued. And some people, of course, do say that it is, when they look at REIT, etc., then they do say that it is undervalued. So this is what I said. I never said that it is undervalued, but by some accounts, yes, it is undervalued.
So what could be the fair value if you have done any?
See, we don't have, as mentioned, our policy has been consistent. This question keeps coming up again and again, and we keep giving out the same answer. I don't have anything more to add. than what I said in my monetary policy statement.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I now request Hamsini Karthik from Money Control to ask her question. Hamsini, please.
Thank you, Prasar. Thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. My question is on deposit and lending rates. Earlier in your policies, you've said that at RBI, you would endeavor to maintain rates at a certain level, which would be slightly low. You're not in a rush to increase rates. Would you continue to maintain that stand even today, given where geopolitical situations are and what other economies are doing with the monetary policy tools? And as an allied, I would also want to draw your attention to deposit rates. In your speech, you mentioned that there is a certain amount of hardening of lending and deposit rates as well. We recently had a very large private sector bank say that they had to resort to very competitive structuring of deposits to ensure that they're able to combat this excessive competition for deposit. Is that a practice at RBI that you would allow, that you're okay with? And given that deposit rates have continued to be very elevated, I mean, it has been a pressure to mobilize deposits. I think we're in the third year of that. Where do you see some sort of a relief coming for banks?
Well, see, as far as deposit rates are concerned, there is no regulation on that. So I'm not understanding as to the intent of your question.
I'd primarily like to understand, sir, is there a room based on the macro environment today where do you foresee low interest rates continuing to prevail in the country for a while? And what would be the allied impact of that on deposits?
Yeah, so see, that's futuristic. We will be data dependent, and we'll see, how the growth inflation dynamics plays out, as I've already mentioned. I think on rates, policy rates going forward, I'll not be able to give you more guidance than what was given in the statement and what I mentioned when I answered one of the previous questions.
Regarding competition for deposits, or any view that you have?
Is competition, as far as, competition is healthy. Competition is good as long as it is transparent, as long as it is fair. Competition is good, and that should continue.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. I now request Ekta Suri from Z Business to ask a question. Ekta, please.
गुड आफ्टरनून सर, बहुत संक्षेप में सवाल पूछूंगी ताकि छोटे आंसर्स में ही कम समय में हो जाए ज़्यादा चीज़ें. सर, ये पूछना चाहूँगी कि एनआरआई डिपॉजिट्स को लेकर आरबीआई का कोई टारगेट है? और यहाँ पर हम क्योंकि बात कर रहे हैं कि हमारा फॉरेक्स रिजर्व रहे, तो मोदी जी ने भी अपील की थी कि सोना जो है लोग कम खरीदे. क्या आरबीआई गोल्ड मोनेटाइजेशन स्कीम को और ल्यूक्रेटिव बनाने के बारे में सोच रहा है? एंड जस्ट इफ टाइम अलाउज, वन मोर क्रिस्प क्वेश्चन.
आपने दो क्वेश्चन पूछ लिए. तीसरा अगर समय रहा तो पूछिएगा. तो पहले मैंने कहा कि कोई हमारा इसके लिए लक्ष्य हमने कोई निर्धारित नहीं किया है, लेकिन हमें आशा है कि काफ़ी स्वस्थ और अधिक मात्रा में हमारे को फ्लोज इसमें जो विभिन्न हमने जो मेजर्स जो हमने आज अनाउंस किए हैं उसकी वजह से आने चाहिए. दूसरा, आपका जो गोल्ड मोनेटाइजेशन के बारे में अभी कोई प्रस्ताव जो है उसके बारे में विचाराधीन नहीं है.
थैंक यू सर.
धन्यवाद सर. I now request Anurag Shah from ET Now Swadesh to ask his question. Anurag, please.
थैंक यू सर. थैंक यू सर. सर, आम लोगों से जुड़ा हुआ एक सवाल समझना चाहूँगा सर, क्योंकि सर लोगों का आरबीआई पे भरोसा है और आप सही आंकलन कर सकते हैं. तो मौजूदा आर्थिक स्थिति को आरबीआई किस तरह से देखता है, कितनी चुनौतीपूर्ण है, और आरबीआई के लिए सर अब चिंता आगे चल के क्या रहेगी, ग्रोथ की रहेगी या महंगाई की रहेगी? क्योंकि सर ग्रोथ के आंकलन में आपने आज कहा कि बर्डन शेयरिंग जो होगी आगे चल के वो भी काफ़ी महत्वपूर्ण होगी, वो भी ग्रोथ को तय करेगी. तो सर उसे कैसे देखते हैं? और सर आजकल भारत के अंदर काफी चर्चा चल रही है डॉलर के मुकाबले रुपए के स्तर को लेके, बुद्धिजीवी लोग, अर्थशास्त्री लोग, हर कोई अपनी राय दे रहा है। तो सर आरबीआई उसको कैसे देख रहा है? क्या ये एक बस प्रक्रिया का हिस्सा है? अगर भविष्य, निकट भविष्य में वो 3 डिजिट का आंकड़ा भी होता है तो दैट्स जस्ट अ नंबर, नथिंग मोर।
नहीं, देखिए, जो हमारी आर्थिक स्थिति है, जैसा कि हमने अपने वक्तव्य में भी कहा है, तो वो काफ़ी सुदृढ़ है, बहुत सक्षम है, स्वस्थ है। ये जो एक ग्लोबल शॉक है, वो उसमें भारत अकेला नहीं है। सभी देश जो है इससे इम्पैक्टेड हैं। जहाँ तक भारत की स्थिति है, हम तुलनात्मक दृष्टि से हम लोग न केवल अन्य देशों से तुलना की जाए, बल्कि पूर्व के इस प्रकार के जो शॉक्स हमारे सामने आए हैं, दोनों दृष्टि से हम लोग आज काफ़ी बेहतर स्थिति में हैं। चाहे वो आर्थिक हमारी वृद्धि हो 6.5% से ऊपर, वो बहुत कम देशों की है, किसी की भी नहीं है। जो मेजर जो देश हैं, बड़े देश हैं, किसी की भी नहीं है। और जहाँ तक मुद्रास्फीति की आपने बात करी, तो मुद्रास्फीति निश्चित रूप से जो है इससे बढ़ेगी, क्योंकि अगर ऑयल के प्राइसेस बढ़े हैं तो वो सब जगह पे बढ़ रहे हैं। लेकिन यही उम्मीद कर सकते हैं कि ये ज़्यादा लंबे समय तक नहीं रहे, काफ़ी अनिश्चितता है, तो उसके बाद में हमारे को मालूम चलेगा। लेकिन जो हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था की स्थिति है वो काफ़ी सुदृढ़ है, वृद्धि अच्छी है, हमारे बैंक्स वो सक्षम है, सुदृढ़ है, हमारा जो कॉरपोरेट जगत है उसके पास में भी उनकी जो बैलेंस शीट्स हैं वो भी बहुत स्वस्थ हैं। बाहरी जो स्थिति है, आपने रुपए के बारे में बात की, तो वो भी हमारे जो फॉरेक्स रिजर्व्स हैं वो हमारे पास में पर्याप्त मात्रा में है, और 11 माह का जो हमारा आयात, गुड्स का जो आयात है, उसको कवर करने के लिए पर्याप्त है। कुल मिलाकर के हम काफ़ी बहुत अच्छी स्थिति में हैं, और हम काफ़ी विश्वस्त हैं कि इस स्थिति से हम लोग अच्छी तरह से हम न केवल निपटेंगे, बल्कि इस स्थिति को एक अपने लिए एक अपॉर्चुनिटी मानते हुए और अधिक हम अपने आप को सक्षम और सुदृढ़ बनाएंगे, ताकि इस प्रकार की जो क्राइसिस या शॉक्स आते हैं उनको हम बेहतर और अधिक बेहतर तरीके से निपट सकें।
धन्यवाद सर. Sir, we'll now take a few questions from the right.
Yes.
I'll request Sangeeta Mehta from Economic Times to ask a question. Sangeeta, please.
Thank you. Sir, given that influx of inflows that might happen because of the measures announced, what kind of system level liquidity you think would be appropriate in the current scenario? And do you expect banks to pass on the benefits of hedging costs to the customers respective?
Yes, I do expect them to pass on some of the benefits of hedging, and that will result in good flows. Liquidity, as I've mentioned, we will provide the appropriate amount of liquidity so that credit in the system, not only bank credit but other bonds, etc., also can be provided to meet the needs of the economy. There's no level that we generally target. You have seen we gave about 2.6 lakh crore of liquidity in the last 2 months since we have met, and we'll continue to provide appropriate liquidity as is needed.
Thank you, sir. I'll now request Jaspreet Kalra from Thomson Reuters to ask his question. Jaspreet, please.
Thank you, sir. So you've announced measures aimed at garnering capital inflows today, via FCNR, ECB, etc. Are you also considering measures to slow down outflows, perhaps through restrictions on liberalized remittance schemes, overseas debt investments? Is that something under consideration? And because some of my peers took the liberty, I hope you'll allow me. You speak a lot about inflation expectations. In the recent data that we've seen in RBI surveys, they've started to drift up. How do you sort of closely track that? Are there supplementary tools that you're looking to maybe measure inflation expectations in more real time to be able to stay ahead of that curve? Thank you.
See, as and when, first of all, there is no, such measure right now under consideration to restrict any kind of, capital flows, outflows. On your second question, which is related to inflation expectations, we do our household surveys, so that is the primary source, through which we get the data. And other than inflation expectations, the prices, when they are passed on, that can also have some element of expectations built into it, apart from, the service that we do. So we monitor those very closely, and we'll continue to do that and take
from
action.
the companies to the consumers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll now request Piyush Shukla from NDTV Profit to ask his question. Piyush, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, Governor, DGs. Thanks, Blitzer. Sir, we understand the updated list of NBFCs is yet to come out. You have issued categorization draft circular. There are views on, floating around on one CIC which has applied for deregistration as well. When can we expect the upper, the next upper layer list to come out? And if you could allow me to ask, because this is the largest private bank of country, we have seen a lot of developments happening with regard to how its governance is being played out. Is the regulator concerned in any manner on this particular aspect? Thank you.
See, we don't, you are aware, we don't, answer any entity or bank-specific questions. We are more, we are looking at, system-level things. So that's, on your second part of the question. Your first part
updated layer of...
See, the list is there already, right? So it continues till the time, we have a new list.
When will we have it? It was supposed, it gets updated on a yearly basis. That's why I'm asking.
So we'll do it shortly.
Thank you, sir. I'll now request Ankur Mishra from ET Now to ask his question. Ankur, please.
Thank you, Prasar, for the opportunity. Good afternoon, Governor. You mentioned during the monetary policy statement that the crude oil prices has been more than the assumptions which were there in the last monetary policy. I want to understand what is the assumption now.
तो आप सुन रहे थे जो आरबीआई के गवर्नर हैं संजय मल्होत्रा, वो प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस को संबोधित कर रहे थे 10 बजे, जब ये अनाउंसमेंट हुआ था कि आरबीआई ने रेपो दर को अपरिवर्तित रखा है। और कई जो पत्रकार हैं उनके सवालों के जवाब दे रहे थे, जहां उन्होंने साफ तौर पर कहा कि जो तमाम अनिश्चितताएं चल रही हैं वैश्विक अर्थव्यवस्थाओं में, उसके बावजूद भारत जो है वो बहुत कंफर्टेबल पोजीशन में है। और उस लिहाज से जहां इन्फ्लेशन को लेकर उन्होंने कहा कि ये भी अंडर कंट्रोल है, और किस तरह से हम आने वाले जो साल है, यानी कि आने वाले की बात की जाए अगली पॉलिसी तक भी और जो न्यूट्रल स्टैंस है इस तरह को बरकरार करते हुए देखेंगे। वक्त एक छोटे से ब्रेक का, ब्रेक के उस पार भी खबरों का सिलसिला जारी रहेगा। आप देखते रहिए DD न्यूज़।
जब धरती चीर कर निकलता है लोहे का पत्थर और मिलता है मोंगिया के जोश से, फिर तपता है, पिघलता है और बनता है फौलाद। अब होता है सरिया सारी खूबियों के साथ। मोंगिया स्टील, मजबूत देश का मजबूत सरिया।
हर जीत की शुरुआत होती है छोटे छोटे कदमों से, और हर छोटी तैयारी बदल सकती है पूरा नतीजा। क्योंकि मैदान हो या जिंदगी, छोटी से छोटी तैयारी ही देती है प्रोटेक्शन, और प्रोटेक्शन ही देता है भरोसा। जैसे LIC की बीमा लक्ष्मी, एक खास प्लान सिर्फ महिलाओं के लिए, जहां छोटी बचत दे बड़ी सुरक्षा, ताकि जिंदगी के हर मैदान में आप रहे हर पल के लिए रेडी। LIC बीमा लक्ष्मी, रखे हर पल के लिए रेडी।
ब्रेक के बाद का स्वागत। बढ़ते हैं आगे। प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी आज गुजरात और दमन के दौरे पर रहेंगे। इस दौरान प्रधानमंत्री गुजरात, दमन और लक्षद्वीप के लिए हजारों करोड़ रुपयों की विभिन्न विकास परियोजनाओं का उद्घाटन और शिलान्यास करेंगे। प्रधानमंत्री सूरत में सड़क, बिजली और उद्योग से जुड़ी 18,800 करोड़ रुपए से अधिक की कई विकास परियोजनाओं की आधारशिला रखेंगे और राष्ट्र को समर्पित करेंगे। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी सूरत के हजारी में औद्योगिक कार्यों और अवसंरचना परियोजनाओं की समीक्षा करेंगे। इसके अलावा प्रधानमंत्री सूरत में 200 बिस्तर वाले ESIC अस्पताल का भी उद्घाटन करेंगे, जो आधुनिक स्वास्थ्य सेवाएं प्रदान करेगा। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी इसके बाद केंद्र शासित प्रदेश दादरा और नागर हवेली, दमन और दीव भी जाएंगे। दमन में प्रधानमंत्री मोदी करीब 2,970 करोड़ रुपए के विकास परियोजनाओं का उद्घाटन करेंगे और शिलान्यास भी। इस दौरान प्रधानमंत्री दमन में स्वामी विवेकानंद ग्राउंड में एक विशाल जनसभा को भी संबोधित करेंगे। दमन में प्रधानमंत्री नमो हवाई अड्डे का नया टर्मिनल भवन जो है उसे राष्ट्र को समर्पित करेंगे। इसके अलावा प्रधानमंत्री मोदी दमन में 270 करोड़ रुपए की लागत से बने नमो अस्पताल का भी उद्घाटन करेंगे। साथ ही प्रधानमंत्री मोदी 359 करोड़ की लागत वाले आइकॉनिक ब्रिज, 231 करोड़ की लागत से बने दमन कन्वेंशन सेंटर और 225 करोड़ की लागत वाले निफ्ट कैंपस को भी राष्ट्र को समर्पित करेंगे। और फिलहाल समाचारों में इतना ही। दीजिए अनुमति। नमस्कार।